Hey guys, what's going on? Rod McCarthy here with GRBM, and today we're talking roofing insurance and how much it costs here in New York. Hey guys, so as many of you know, roofing insurance here in New York, super hard to come by and pretty expensive. Now, for those of you new venture guys that maybe weren't ready for that, sorry to break the bad news, but it's going to cost you an arm and a leg here in New York. That being said, going with the cheapest, most cutthroat policy, not in your best interest. Cheap roofing insurance is never a good idea. It's kind of like going with the discount skydiving facility. Are you willing to take that? Because I'm not. So without further delay, let's get into it and how much it's going to cost you. Here in New York, roofing insurance is generally rated on the gross receipts or gross total income of your company. Not ideal, I know, as material cost is a huge factor, but it is what it is. That is how the majority of policies are rated. Now, good coverage is going to cost you 2 arms and 2 legs. I warned you. So it's going to be around $75 to $150 per 1,000 of your total income. Oh, I should also mention these policies typically start at around $20,000. So your small operation with you and, quote, nobody else, we all know you have a helper. Nobody roofs alone. Sorry, not believing it. Nobody roofs alone. Anyway, so yeah, for good coverage, you're looking at around $20,000, which is a big nut. That being said, we do have cheaper options which don't include action over if you're going to tell me that you don't have any helpers. Does this look like a face that's believing you? Once again, nobody roofs alone. That being said, if you force the issue, I will give you a quote without action over, and that's going to run you around $3,000. But you don't have action over coverage, and that employee, that helper that you don't have, yeah, that guy, when he gets hurt and sues you, you're not going to have any coverage. Just something to keep in mind. But hey, you do what you want because you the boss. I will advise you once again, that policy is not a good idea. Because we all know you have that helper, and inevitably something is going to happen because roofing is really dangerous. So, for the right coverage, you're looking at minimum of around $20,000, rating of $75 to $150 per 1,000 of your gross income. Now, the big things that affect which end of that spectrum you're on are your claims history and where you do your work. If the majority of your work is in New York City, ouch. You're going to be at the high end of that spectrum and maybe even higher because the pricing only ever goes up for New York City contractors. That being said, your pricing to your customers should reflect your insurance cost. Yes, so your pricing should go up if your insurance goes up. I hate to be the one to break this to you guys, but you guys just factoring it based off of X per square and blah, 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 well, that's not a great idea. The larger roofing contractors all factor in how much everything costs them per square per everything, including their insurance. And that's what ensures at the end of the year they don't run at a loss, because insurance becomes a huge expense as your business grows. I apologize for those of you that are already doing that and making it seem redundant, but there is a ton of small contractors that we work with that don't properly factor in their insurance costs into their budget and their proposals to their clients. So just something to keep in mind. Now, getting back to how much it costs and why you need it, I mean, everybody knows roofing is really dangerous. Whether you've got a guy falling off the roof and then trying to sue you under action over, or you do a job and you damage something, the roof leaks, there's a ton of problems potentially with roofing. So having the right insurance, super important, super protective of your business. So you don't get sued and have to personally replace this person's whatever. I mean, you know, the things we've seen, quote, water damaged, you know, from a $100,000 Oriental rug to some fancy couch that was made by somebody whose name I don't even know. But let's be honest, here in New York, people have really expensive stuff. Do you want to have to replace that out of your own pocket? I don't think so. Get the right insurance coverage. Protect your business. All right, so I think by this point you really know that how much it costs, why you need it. Let's get into the last question, which is how much do you need? Well, that's a little bit of a tougher question. If you're working mostly residential, smaller jobs, single family houses, that sort of thing, you can probably get away with just $1 million policy. But if you're doing commercial jobs, larger jobs, apartment complexes and whatnot, they're going to require you to have probably a $5 million, maybe even a $10 million umbrella. Something to keep in mind, because once again, that's super expensive. You need to factor it in. Super expensive sounded scary, but it really is. A $5 million umbrella could run you anywhere from $50,000 to $150,000. Assuming you have good coverage and action over. But that's really a non-issue, because if you're trying to do those sort of larger jobs and you don't have action over, it's not going to happen. They're going to do a detailed policy review, find out you don't have action over, and then reject your bid. It happens. We see it all the time. So I think by this point you should understand why you need it, how much it costs, and how much of it you need. If you have any other questions, feel free to reach out. I'm happy to help you. I love talking about this stuff, and I love helping contractors get insurance. We make it super easy to switch your insurance to GRBM, and if you read our Google reviews, that's one of the common things people say about us. So I'd be happy to do the same for you. Look forward to hearing from you. Take it easy, guys.